Thank you, Producer Chase. This is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting. About, let's say 50 miles south of Nashville, 25 miles south of Murfreesboro, and the lovely, just a wee bit chilly but sunny, not for the rest of the day, Green Hills of Southern Middle Tennessee. It's that time of the month where we have Bedford County Sheriff Austin Swing here to talk about various issues going on in law enforcement and corrections here in Bedford County. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Scott.
Always good to have you. I hope business isn't up, but you know, it is a growth industry sometimes.
Yeah.
So what's going on, Sheriff? I know you like to start with some stats usually.
I do. I get into the, as you say, the stats. And this is for March that just passed. I'm not going to give our total miles because I got to looking at it and I
didn't look right.
It's the same amount of miles it was in February. I don't think we're that.
Man, you better play the lottery if that happened. That's probably not right, but it's probably close though, right?
It probably is.
Yeah.
I know Keith put a question mark beside.
Well, you can bring one back next month for both months. There you go. Because we both know this is a huge county, and deputies are running from Rover to Flat Creek to War Trace and then back over to Bethel. I mean, it's just a big territory.
Just a shade under 500 square miles. I mean, and you
get calls all over the county every day. So a lot of miles on what would be their office.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think, too, with manpower, and, I mean, it would take a whole lot of manpower, more than obviously we can afford, to really cover the county like I'd like to see it covered. But with what we got, and that's what we're going to do our best. And, you know, you got one guy in Beech Grove, and he's having a problem, and his backup's in Wheel. I
think a lot of scenarios that folks don't realize. You say you probably maybe have 5 deputies on patrol. If it's a domestic, you got to have 2 deputies there. It's just a safety issue, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden there's a 1046 or a traffic with injuries up near Unionville. Well, it takes 2 to do traffic control. You can't do it with 1. So all of a sudden you got 1 guy covering the whole county.
That's basically it.
And, you know, in order to have the number of people you'd need to do zoning and stuff, you'd have to probably double what you have, and that's obviously not affordable. So,
we are going to try to get some more help. I don't know if we will be successful or not, but if we don't, it won't be from lack of trying, because, as you say, it's a lot of territory, and it's a lot more population now. I mean, our population is going up hastily. Has been for about 20 years.
And you talked about this on your show before when you and I grew up here, and the population in Bedford County, I always remember this, was about 28,000 people. Well, heck, the city of Shelbyville's probably got 25,000 now.
Close to it, yeah.
And we're at maybe 53,000 for the whole county. So we've doubled in that time
relatively
frame.
A short amount of time. That
is a short amount of time. Yep. I mean, just drive around the county, you can tell.
Absolutely. Well, with all that being said,
Roger that. We were talking about miles patrol. That's how we got there.
I'm going to jump to warrants, sir.
Okay.
The Bedford County Sheriff's Department in the month of March served 924 warrants in Bedford County. A lot of warrants. Our
900?
924.
Golly.
Our warrants
30 a day. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, they're busy. Total amount of arrest was 263. Total inmates that we are holding right now in our jail. Now, remember this. We moved out of a jail that was built for 64.
Yep, I remember that. But you had like 100 something in there, right?
150, 200.
Yeah.
We moved into a jail that will hold about 400 plus.
420 or so,
Something like that.
Yep.
Our jail right now is holding 366. So, as I say,
Sheriff, you moved in there, like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
366. Okay.
So it's steadily growing, and it kind of concerns me it being this quick. But anyway, thank goodness they did build it with the expectation of growth.
The majority of the commissioners supported that, so thank you to them for doing that.
Absolutely. And hopefully maybe that number will come down some, but anyway, it is what it is. I'm not going to go over everything, but I will hit a few high points. Again, talking about the Bedford County Sheriff's Department with 300, and again, talking about March, 350 investigations, had 42 wrecks, no injury, 13 with injury, motorist assist, 29. We transported that were people not arrested, 19. In custody, we transported 40. Traffic stops, 355. 911 calls, 65. So it was pretty much an average month, except in a spot or two, and obviously one being the jail.
Well, still a lot of activity and a lot going on, and folks aren't getting bored. They're busy.
No.
Serving the public. There you go.
If you like a job that you it's something new all the time, and as Scott just said, you're relatively busy, I'd recommend putting in at the Bedford County Sheriff's Department.
Right. No, roger that. Absolutely. Yeah.
We make Scott come in and work sometimes. Oh, getting to the meal, sir. We always have a good time with that. It looks like in March that the Bedford County Jail served 29,999. That's pretty close to 30,000.
Busiest restaurant in Bedford County, cafeteria. That's right.
900 for juvenile meals that we serve.
A lot going on in juvenile. Yep,
absolutely. Our total cost was $36,446.71. which comes to still a good price at $1.17 a meal.
Can't get below that dollar again, isn't it? It's like Dollar General's not Dollar General anymore, right? I mean, or whatever they call it, the dollar store or whatever. Yep.
Very good comparison.
That's still very reasonable, though.
That's true. Not bad compared to some of the others. Oh, get over to our courtrooms, which really stay busy. In March, our judicial service division, in other words, our courtroom officers, scanned and searched, and this is just the month of March, 5,678 people in Bedford County Court Complex.
And that's just like 20 days because the courts aren't open on the weekend.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So 20 days, it was 6,000 people almost.
Yeah, the main part of that number was probably coming in about 3 days every week.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I know your judicial division is extremely busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and I get tickled when people ask me and say, well, what they do, just talking about courtroom security, just sit around down there. I'm like, well, if you come and watch, you'll see.
Yeah. No, I've worked it before. No, they're busy.
The deputies maintain security for 34 court sessions with a total of 1,708 individual court cases. I'm thinking, how do they do that many? I mean, really?
Well, a lot of that's General Sessions Court, but Judge Rich has got a lot on his plate there, processing them through. But even Circuit, Chancery, they all very busy.
Absolutely, and you're right, Judge Rich has the majority of it, but they are all busy. So, anyway, deputies serve 15 criminal or civil warrants. In that same period, they took 34 people into custody on warrants or court-related charges, and the deputies down there also transported 148 inmates from the court holding to the courtroom. So, see, they're not only responsible for that, but they and jail personnel together are responsible for getting the prisoners in and out of there safely, and we have holding rooms that are sort of in between the jail and the courtroom.
Right outside the court, right, actually behind the courtrooms and stuff.
It is.
Well, that was another thing when that system was built, and I give credit to the commissioners that voted for that, because the safety factor of having to constantly transport from a jail up to a courthouse it's dangerous, number one. Logistics nightmare. Got to have a lot more people to do that. Mm-hmm. And now you guys can just walk them down the hall, and they have little holding cells right there until their case comes up.
And you know what?
That's the way to do it, and that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think back on it, it's like a lot of things. You know, you look back, and I'm like, How did we do that? You know, I mean, I've seen them.
It was very, very difficult. Walk a huge line up that hill.
Yeah,
it was like the pumpkin patch with all those orange jumpsuits back then, coming up that hill. I remember those days, and obviously it could be a dangerous time if somebody's trying to break somebody out too. So.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, we made it through it.
Folks are talking to Sheriff Austin Swing here in Bedford County about the various things going on in the court system, corrections, and law enforcement here in Bedford County. The sheriff always brings a special topic, and we'll get to that after we take a 60-second break.
Kincaid's is proud to offer Beauty Rest Black to our customers. Beauty Rest Black represents a leap forward in bedding with sleep climate technology keeping you cool, and triple-stranded pocketed coils give you luxurious support all night long. Wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day with a new Beauty Rest Black mattress from Kincaid Service Company. 400 Madison Street, Shelbyville, across from the Speedway gas station. 931-684-5662.
When's the last time you've seen the eye doctor? Don't wait. Whether it's little Carter's first pair of glasses or keeping a good eye on your vision health as you age, your eyes are a precious thing. See personalized care for the whole family and friendly faces at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care on 605 North Main in Shelbyville, across from the U.S. Post Office. Striving to bring you excellence in optometry every single day. Don't put your family's vision off. Make an appointment today at 931-684-2020. Personalized eye care for the whole family at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care.
United Communications builds connections you can rely on. Whether it's fast internet for your home or your business, our fiber network is designed for your community. No long hold times, no out-of-town providers, just real service from real people. Call 931-740-1800 or visit united.net. Thousands of Tennesseans already trust United. United Communications. Fast, local internet.
Folks, this is Scott Johnson on behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting, the only locally owned radio station here in Bedford County, Shelbyville, one each. We're talking to Bedford County Sheriff Austin Swing about various things going on in the law enforcement, corrections, and court system here in Bedford County. And Sheriff, like I said, you usually bring a special topic, so we'll turn the mic over to you.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest. I'm sort of treading on territory I don't think I've ever talked about national politics before while I'm in here. I'll let Scott take care of all that. But I was reading something, and obviously I get books and magazines and stuff on all types of police, law enforcement, whether it be sheriffs, state troopers, whatever. I get them every month, and I was just looking at an article that just about made my blood boil. And I guess, whatever branch of work you're in, I mean, if you're a fireman, and it's all about fire protection, and if you work in a factory and make a product like a Chevrolet, then it's Chevrolets. Mm-hmm. But with me, it's obviously law enforcement. It's pretty much all I've done, especially in my adult life. And I was looking, and basically, and I know, I'll say this before I get started, every president that I know of, before he's gone out of office, has pardoned people. I mean, that's part of it.
Governors do it, presidents do it. Yeah, that's part of the process.
It is. But when you get our last administration that left office, when he left office, he issued a record number of pardons and commuted sentences. And there was sentences commuted for 2,500 people who were convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I mean, granted, they hadn't killed anybody or raped anybody or anything like that, but still, 2,500 more drug dealers turned back out on the street doesn't help our cause any,
right,
that are in law enforcement. But it's when it got a little deeper than that. He handed out clemency and used to give hope to cop killers. granted leniency to people responsible for murdering law enforcement officers. And then it's had a few individual illustrations. One was back in 1975 when two FBI agents, Jack Cooler and Ronald Williams, stopped a car with two men in it. They were in South Dakota, I think it said, on an Indian reservation, which I don't know if it had anything to do with that.
The FBI has jurisdiction on Native American reservations, yep.
So that's where they were. So they evidently had spotted a car, and they knew that one of the guys that was in this car had tried to murder a Wisconsin police officer. So immediately they, turned on their lights to do a traffic stop. Well, the two men that were in the car, they did stop. They stopped and got out shooting. Both FBI agents were wounded, but then they were executed by one shot to the head, and their car had their FBI car had 125 bullet holes in it. One of the men received 2 life sentences, and later another 5 years for a violent prison escape that he had, where he had tried to escape later on after he had been incarcerated. He was denied clemency by President Obama in 2017, but our past president, the last day in office, commuted his sentence.
No, that didn't happen. Seriously? I remember that incident when those 2 FBI agents got killed.
Yeah.
Murdered. They were executed, actually.
Yeah, they were.
Commuted their sentences. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, that's what I said. And I think we're supposed to actually take place this month. It's what I read. I do have to back it up. Sure enough, it's
truth is stranger than fiction. Sometimes
nothing.
I hate that, especially for the families of those 2 FBI agents.
Absolutely,
and for everyone else that's in law enforcement, because it doesn't show support for law enforcement.
I just don't.
It just doesn't.
No,
we're talking an execution murder.
Yeah,
it wasn't an accident. It didn't happen like in a fist fight where they got killed or something. So
no, they had obviously outgunned them, and I would assume both of the agents were probably pretty much, not dead, but there wasn't anything they could do.
They couldn't fight back at that point. Yeah.
So instead of just leaving, they get out. Well, they were already out of their car, but they walked back there and execute them. So 1 bullet to the head. So I don't think get any much colder-blooded than that. And how a president of the United States could do something like that.
Was there any rationale given why that was done?
No.
That's just bizarre to me. For any president from any party, that would just be bizarre to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
To do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, our prayers go out to the family of those that survived, those 2 FBI agents, and having to obviously witness that.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about witnesses, their release.
Well, maybe we'll read something or sell new that something happened. But that was, like I say, I think it was supposed to take place this month. Okay. So whether it has yet or not, I don't know. Another one was Officer Alan Gibson of Waverly, Virginia. And he was overpowered by 2 men who shot and killed him with his own gun. The men were sentenced to life without possibility of parole. 3 days before our previous president got out of office, he granted clemency to them.
Another cop killer, 2 more cop killers.
Yeah, that overpowered a 30-something-year-old I think police officer, and they took his weapon away from him.
Out there trying to keep the community safe while everybody else is at home watching TV. And that's that thoughts and prayers go out to Officer Gibson's family.
Absolutely.
On that. And that's a sad commentary there, Sheriff.
And I think I've got one more here of Columbus, Ohio. This was a 33-year-old officer, Brian Hurst, who was working off duty, as so many officers have to do to make ends meet.
Yep, they sure do.
In a local bank, and a robber came in. Well, you know, we always talked about if you're sitting in a bank in a police uniform or any kind of deputy, you're the first one that's going to go, and that was certainly the case.
That's a confined space. It's hard to react in time.
It is. And, I mean, you know, you got thousands of customers coming in, and then there's that one time that one of those customers is actually a bank robber, and before you have time, as you just said, to react, you're probably already dead. And that was the case with Officer Brian Hurst. The guy that was robbing the bank shot and killed him. I'm assuming because it's a bank, it was a federal crime instead of a state crime.
Yeah, it can be, certainly.
Yeah, at least that's the way they charged him.
Okay.
Before... Now, going back to the police officer, before he died, he actually returned fire, and his actions prevented anyone else from getting hurt or any money from being taken. So, certainly a brave young man that lost his life, but he didn't give up until he just absolutely did die. In December, our past president commuted 37 federal death row inmates to life in prison. One of those 37 were Brian Hurst's killers. So another sad story. And again, you got to wonder what his family thinks, you know.
Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to Officer Hurst's family as well, from up there in Ohio. And, you know, politics can be an ugly thing, obviously, whether it's local or whether it's national, but things like that, I think those things like pardons and commutations and stuff are for prisoners that maybe they're in for a drug offense and they've been a model prisoner for 10 years and maybe they give them a chance on the outside. I think it's built for that. It's certainly not built to release killers.
Right.
Especially any killers.
Any killer, yeah.
Not just police officers, but certainly not police officers who are out protecting the public while everybody else is at home in comfort. So that's a pretty sad commentary, Sheriff. It just is.
It is. Leniency. This was leniency shown to cop killers by this past president. And it helps, really, if you think about it, helps amplify what we've seen for the last 4 years, the anti-police, pro-criminal movement that has made the job of police officers all over, and deputies and state troopers all over America far more dangerous in recent years. In 2023, we actually reached a 10-year high in attacks on law enforcement officers, and I said attacks, not murders, reaching 79,000. So,
you know, and I mean, obviously people around here support law enforcement, and I know you know that, but I think we've seen that where the non-compliance on issues has just, it's swept the whole country. And, you know, when cities were being taken over by violent criminals, taking over police precincts, that was something that used to be in the movies 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'd watch it for entertainment. We thought it was kind of funny, right? And it happened in the last few years where they take over police precincts, and those administrations in those large cities would let them do it. I don't think the police wanted them to do it.
No. And I can assure you,
I remember the police chief in Seattle. I don't know if you remember her. She was a tough cookie. She got asked about that. I believe it was Seattle or Portland, one of them over there where they were having a lot of problems. She said, "Well, my decision. You know, I'll take care of my people." And when they took over the city there, basically, at least the downtown area, it was sad because look at what's going on in California and a lot of other places where you can go in and steal and just run out with it. And, you know, by the way, folks, you can't do that in Tennessee.
No.
I see every Christmas around the malls, a bunch of people get arrested thinking they can do that. No, you're in Tennessee, brother. You're going to jail here.
You came to the wrong place.
Yeah, this is the wrong state. You don't want to come here because you're going to go to jail in Tennessee if you steal thousands of dollars from our stores.
And, you know, I was thinking about that, just about exactly what you were saying after I finished. I thought, you know, it almost is like they were in another country. I mean, I know it was America, but it wasn't the America that we have here. And I want to be the first to say I'm so thankful, and I'm saying this to all the people in Bedford County and the state of Tennessee. I am so thankful that the people here do support law enforcement as a whole. I know there's always your few, but
vast majority.
Absolutely.
I think you and I have talked about that when I do work on patrol and I'm in uniform. I lost track how many times people have bought our lunch.
I was fixing to say, I bet more officers have had their lunch.
Seriously. And a lot of them want to remain anonymous, and that's okay. But a lot of them, we want to thank them if we know who they are. And you know what they say every time? I want you showing up at my house when I call. Mm-hmm. We support you guys. We're not against you guys. And I tell you, the deputies and the police officers really appreciate that.
Oh, they do.
Because you're out there to help the public. It's just the way it is. And if you don't have public safety, if you don't have protection, then what do you have? You have what we saw. Yeah. And as you know, I've been to a lot of third world countries. I've seen that chaos in those countries where there's not a strong police presence or they're not professional. And I couldn't believe we were getting some of that here in the United States. I mean, it was just bizarre to me because I really thought that was something for the movies.
Yeah.
And not for real. But fortunately in Tennessee, we do believe in law and order in Tennessee. And the bottom line is you do the crime, you're going to do the time.
Yep.
I mean, seriously. So thank you to all the good people of Tennessee that support law enforcement.
And I'll put in a attaboy for our governor, Governor Lee. He's probably been the most, as far as law enforcement, the most supportive governor that we've ever had, regardless which party you're talking about. He really has stood behind us, and it's just,
he's actually expanded the state troopers.
Oh yeah,
and Homeland Security, and obviously contributed to making Tennessee a safer place to live and work. Right.
Yeah.
So, well, Sheriff, we are out of time. I appreciate you coming in. I hate you brought that bad news in here, but you know what? The public needs to know about that.
Like I say, it about made my blood boil, and
there's your topic for the day. Well, hopefully that won't happen anymore. And again, shout out to our public here in Bedford County. Thank you for supporting local law enforcement and all our public safety folks here in Shelbyville, Bedford County, and our other communities around the county. And Sheriff, I know folks really do appreciate what you and the men and women of the Sheriff's Department do in all your divisions there, not just patrol, but everybody supporting and keeping this and making Bedford County a better and safer place to live and work. So thank you to you and your folks and your troops out there doing that. Folks, this is Scott Johnson. On behalf of Hopkins Farm Broadcasting, we have 11 government-related talk shows every month where you can tune in and actually get the facts straight from the people from the horse's mouth that's doing the work. So it's Scott Johnson. Until next time.
When's the last time you've seen the eye doctor? Don't wait. Whether it's little Carter's first pair of glasses or keeping a good eye on your vision health as you age, your eyes are a precious thing. See personalized care for the whole family and friendly faces at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care on 605 North Main in Shelbyville, across from the U.S. Post Office. Striving to bring you excellence in optometry every single day. Don't put your family's vision off. Make an appointment today at 931-684-2020. Personalized eye care for the whole family at Dr. Hasty Family Eye Care. Visit Kincaid Service Company today to experience the superior comfort of a Serta mattress. Serta has pioneered sleep innovation for more than 90 years, bringing quality products to more than 150 countries worldwide. Serta Comfort is validated by consumers with thousands of 5-star reviews and are designed and assembled in the U.S. at one of Serta's state-of-the-art facilities. Serta's award-winning mattress collections are created by providing superior comfort along with overall support and breathability. Get Serta Comfort by visiting Kincaid Service Company in Shelbyville. Online at kincaidservice.com. At United Communications, we're more than just fast internet. We're your local connection to reliability and service you can count on right here in Bedford County. With fiber fast speeds and a team in your community, we keep you connected when it matters most. No long hold times, no out-of-town providers, just real service from people who care. Call 931-740-1800 or visit united.net. Thousands of Tennesseans already trust United. United Communications. Fast, local internet.
98.7 and AM 1580 W.